hello, all the party rockers in the house tonight. Happy fall winter 25. Today we're filming a video with our lovely Chirabo, who's behind the camera. Timothy and I are just literally picking some of our favorite new arrivals, and we're going to talk to you about why we like them and give you some insight.
We get a lot of new stuff in. It all hits new arrivals page. It's super overwhelming. We're going to try to just point out some stuff that maybe you missed, or maybe we just really like personally, or things that we're thinking about.
I see you got a little Loma sweater here to kick it off too. So so it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so come with us. All right, shop favorite, customer favorite, I think everyone's general favorite, OrSlow. Big old shipment just came in not long ago. I'm definitely gonna be picking some stuff from that.
Here we got a bunch of new lady white, a lot of new styles and things and fabrics for this season, so we're definitely gonna grab some things from here.
And we just got a shipment from Kapital, some high quality BORO pieces in this one of which I will certainly be highlighting.
All right, grabbed everything we need. Let's head on over to the studio and we'll talk you through it.
All right, we're back in here. We're in the studio. It's time for us to go through our choices and tell you why.
So I grabbed this new Our Legacy sweatshirt. I really like this because I like the fit, I like the feel. I know maybe this is a controversial take, but when it comes to sweatshirts and stuff, I like when they're a real tight weave, almost like that kind of crunchy feeling at first.
Sure.
Because that makes me know they're gonna soften up a lot as you wear them.
Yeah.
So I really like the wash. I really like the distressing. It's tough to do a lot of distressing, but keep it looking natural, and this feels pretty natural to me.
Yeah.
It looks like kind of like an old after hood too, which I like. You don't really see those as often, you know, when they kind of attach the hood
to a crew
underneath
neck sweater.
The crew, yeah. So I think that gives a kind of an interesting look, especially if you're gonna wear it by itself. But I was actually thinking this was sort of like a longer coat over the top in the winter is really fun because of the crop proportion of it. I just really like all the little nuanced details of it. And some of them are just little cuts that'll kind of gain as you go. They've got this big cut down here in the sleeve. And when you look on the back, they're hitting a couple little spots back here. I just think it's kind of like a fun execution of a beat up after hood. I've seen them before in Japan a couple times, but I don't often see them here. And I think this is a nice way to get into that without it being too vintage guy.
I really like the crew neck here. If you did want to layer a flannel or something underneath, which kind of looks cool with the hoodie sometimes.
Oh yeah,
because it has that crew neck, it would have the collar lay down a little bit.
And I actually think the crop kind of works in that situation too. Exactly. So definitely a lot of cool layering stuff. I mean, this in a thermal with a long coat underneath, you're pretty solid on temperature wise too. So I really like the color too. I'm not a blue person, as you know, outside of denim. I don't know why that is, but I've been debating maybe switching that up a little bit.
I would love it, yeah.
But I think that the reality is it needs to be these cool blues that are almost gray.
You're not leaning into a navy, maybe?
Or if I did, I want it to be traditional navy, to where it's almost black.
No,
I think that I really like this color a lot. I think this is an easy way to work it in, even if you predominantly wear blacks and all that. I think it still fits in your wardrobe.
I love black and blue, for the record. I know it's a quote unquote rule, but I don't give a shit.
I think it can be done. I've never really worked hard on it, so I don't know how to do it, or I haven't tried. So maybe that's it. But maybe I'll start. Maybe this will be one of the things I start with.
All right. I thought it only fitting to start with an OrSlow piece. I also, not to bypass the rules, but I just wanted to shout out this whole situation I'm wearing, which is the cotton linen moleskin set from OrSlow in the charcoal. Wanted to start with something else from OrSlow. Stonewash Black Ripstop BDU. This is a shape and style I don't think we've ever had before. We've had BDUs from other companies, but I don't think we've had one from OrSlow. So it's a stonewash ripstop, so it's already got that starchiness, and the crisp of a ripstop is already out of it and already has started some of the aging process. But primarily for this, it's a 365 days a year as an option to wear. You could layer a nice hoodie or a crew neck sweater or a wool sweater underneath. Come summer, you just want to wear a t-shirt and you just want to have a long sleeve layer on top. Super easy to work in. True to size fitting, not going to be terribly oversized, not going to be super slim or anything. This one is primarily the workhorse of the wardrobe, is how I would think of it. Is get this, you could wear it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and mix and match it in so many different ways.
The nice thing is no epaulets. That's a big problem for us and
Let's just go ahead and say no more epaulets on anything ever, and I'd be just fine.
I think somebody show me the exception to the rule, but I would say that's a good solid rule. I think that the nice thing is it's just you're not dealing with so much bulk. They've really removed all the excess from the BDU, but you still get the cool pockets. For me, something like this with a sweater underneath is not going to feel like you have too much on either.
Totally.
You're not going to feel like you have to strip this off as soon as you walk in somewhere because it's hot. So that's also a nice thing about it.
And if you want to do some high level layering, this could be the mid layer too.
Sure. When you have all the pockets, then especially if maybe on an old Chesterfield or something that you get, they don't have. They have 2 slant pockets that are before cell phones existed. So easy way.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Love that.
This is a Loma sweater. I think I've called this one out before a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I really like this sweater because I think that people may get stopped up by the collar, which is what I wanted to call out more specifically. Everything about this otherwise is classic Loma sweater. sweater. I have several. I really love them. I highly recommend. It is worth the price jump by a long shot.
Yeah.
I've traveled with them. I've had to wash them before without issue. Really love the material they use. It's wool, but it somehow has some sponginess and airiness to it.
Yeah.
Really worth the price jump in my opinion. I also think this interpretation of a V-neck is going to be an easy thing to do where if you're wearing just a t-shirt underneath, sometimes it adds this kind of cool, relaxed nature to the kind of the silhouette of it.
Kind of slouchy look. You know? Yeah.
Or if you put like a collar underneath this, it's going to fill out a bit and feel more like a V-neck that's not tight and not like weird and loose like the old ones.
Yeah.
So it lands somewhere between a crew and a V to me.
Yeah.
And I just really like the way that plays. I also think that because of it having this shape, when you wear it underneath a jacket, sometimes you get a crew neck and you're like, it's just having to mess with it so much because it's not laying under the jacket right.
Yeah.
This is sort of like made to lay under a jacket right, especially a blazer.
Yes, so wearable. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump you one because I want to explain something. I also pulled this. This is by Lady White and kind of doing the same thing. So this will also be a way to get kind of that similar look. It's still gonna have that crop thing. The nice thing about this one, no tucking here, no banding here. Especially if you're gonna put like stuff underneath it, it'll hang out a little bit better if that's kind of more your look, or you just don't like a more tight look.
I hate when the sweaters bunch at the waist.
I don't mind it. Number one, I will tuck a sweater now and then. I also like to underband it so I have like 2 different length options. So I can see an argument for either way, and I have both and use them both differently. This is an easy way to get kind of a similar look. Tighter V-neck that also kind of curves instead of coming to an actual V. So I think that just makes it, like I said, kind of lay a little bit less fussy and just easy way to like switch up your sweater look without actually having to like do much. And it kind of just ends up playing more. This one has a bunch of texture on it, which I really like, especially if you're layering it underneath jackets. Even if it's tonal, like this against black, will still pop because it almost comes out as purpley.
Sure.
And then you get all the texture underneath because the light's reflecting. So it's a really cool way to just play with something when you might want to go full monotone in the winter, which I get. Really good, slightly more affordable option. Still get kind of the same things out of it. This one's actually a lot lighter too, so if you're sensitive, so I know some people don't like the wool or don't like the extra heat, but they still want to layer. Easy way to kind of accomplish the same thing, but with a less expensive item.
I love that. All right, so Timbo obviously just did the Lady White sweater right prior to this, so in sticking with mid-layer, sticking with Lady White, this is the Raglan Thermal this year. I'd like to know, different situation than in years past. That's an item we've had every year repeatedly is the Raglan Thermal. We've seen the shape change from kind of oversized to more like fitted, like a true base layer of a thermal. This is kind of a good mixture in the middle. I would treat this like a long sleeve crew neck. I wouldn't treat it like a proper thermal. It's not gonna sit as close to the body as like a true like on your body layer, but I would layer this over top a t-shirt and then obviously underneath a jacket and stuff. I like the gray for a thermal because it adds that extra interest, either whether you got the cuff poking out underneath a denim jacket. I just like having that contrast with it and not just like a straight color.
It kind of feels like, not underwear, but you're seeing what I'm saying. Like it feels like an underneath color, so it just it really blends well with kind of everything. If you end up with like whites or creams at all, and then you add gray into that, a la like classic New Balance, it always looks really pretty together. So easy way to go muted without hardcore all one monotone, you know?
Totally, and I promise to do the last time I say this video, but you're gonna get a ton of wear out of this. It's a very wearable piece, Raglan Thermal from Lady White.
Yeah, and also a different type of thermal, like you were saying. So it just reads a little different, kind of adds interest to something that could be otherwise somewhat boring.
I was really stoked when those came in.
This I spotted in the store, and if I'm being honest with you, I think I just missed it when it came in. I think this is really great. I think that this is like a super approachable for someone who is comfortable in like Patagonias or any kind of that sort of mid-layer thing that happens, or just kind of prefer that as your outer. Number one, it's Melton, so it's very warm. It is fully quilted and lined, which is really nice, so it's also not gonna be itchy on you or anything, when this can sometimes lean that way, especially as it's aging.
For sure, as something this heavy.
Melton wool is great because it, like I said, with the sweater, molds. As you wear this, it is going to fit you better and better and better until it feels like it's kind of made for you. I think it has something to do with like the heat that comes off your body, and then the way you're wearing it, it just starts to kind of mold around your body.
Like a denim jacket or something, you get the elbows.
I love the Browns Beach inspiration here with the pocketing, so it feels vintagey, but very much blended with what would be considered like a modern piece. I like the clash of these two ideas. I think kind of no matter what you're into, you could easily dress this up. You could have it as a mid layer, you could have it as a top layer, you could put a hoodie underneath. It feels like pretty accessible and like easy to style. I really don't see like this style ever going out because it's such a blend of so many classics. So fresh take, but feels like it could be around forever. The antique buttons, these are really pretty antique nickel buttons. So all the details are there, you know, all the herringbone finishing
I was
throughout.
gonna say all that piping and
yeah, it's really, cool. I mean, even throughout here, keep in mind that's gonna keep out air and wind and stuff like that too. So yeah, so really cool piece, just thought it was worth pointing out.
Good choice on that.
Feels like it could get lost in the mix if you weren't watching.
As Timothy said, no surprise here. This is the mud dye jacket from Visvim that we just got in a couple weeks ago. I have my raw one that I wear always, and if I didn't have that, I would be cobbling together and scheming to get this. It's a perfect denim jacket. I've talked about it on the pod, I've talked about it on YouTube many times. Every guy needs to have a denim jacket. In particular, I like a type 2. I treat them like a shirt, more or less. T-shirt, jacket, and then layer over top in the winter, and then all summer, a denim jacket and a shirt. It's like the easiest thing you could possibly have in your wardrobe. It goes with everything. It's denim. Can you think of a color that doesn't go with denim?
Well, actually what I wanted to point out about this one is this is sort of like that greenish yellow cast denim.
Yeah.
And what I like about this color in particular, because obviously any darker or you get more true indigo, that I struggle with. I've never been, you find ways, I've never been able to work that into my wardrobe personally. But I also know when you go too light, unless you go completely distressed, then you kind of have to match things. And if I wear a lot of denim pants so that like, I mean, I know you don't do as much denim on the bottoms, or at least not blue denim, but I do, and I think a lot of people do. Lighter can be just as tough as like dark too.
I agree.
The nice thing about this, if you see it next to my beat up jeans, is this actually plays pretty well. You know what I mean? This color in particular, which you don't see as often on things, it just plays a lot better with other blues and other denims. And as opposed to like the one that has more nep and white underneath, that always feels like it can be hard to kind of pair with things. This is sort of the opposite. So I actually think of all the ones we've had in a while, easiest that you could throw into the wardrobe in the sense that it just kind of is going to go with everything. So you can still do the green pant thing that I know you're going to do,
100%.
and it'll look great. In fact, because it has that green yellow cast, it probably is matching those even better. So really good version of this thing that we do all the time.
A perfect denim jacket. Perfect.
So I love this. You know, I know different people have different thoughts on like stripe patterns and sweaters and stuff like this. I'll tell you exactly why I like this. I like this because maybe 10 or 12 years ago, Alexa Chung was wearing a gray, green, and I think white or black Prada sweater that I've been looking for ages.
Oh, you've talked about this sweater.
I've been looking for it for ages. Never seen it. If someone spots one, especially in like a larger XL, hit me up. There's no expense that would be too high where I wouldn't pay for it.
Would you cop a small for Gia?
Yeah, I could do that just to hold it, just to have purchased
If you could find it at all, just send it his way.
What I like about this one in particular, this one is cashmere or a cashmere blend. And the nice thing about that is it just drapes a lot better and feels more elegant, feels more flowy. For me, it's just easier to layer under things. It doesn't feel like it's as much of a outerwear piece as sometimes just like wool sweaters will feel to me. I really like the color here because it kind of fits into kind of any look, but I really like it with like warmer colors. So like I have like the brown boxy jacket from Loma.
Oh, right on.
That would look nice with this. It looks really nice with blues also, as you can kind of see. Again, I'm using my jeans a lot, but I just think it kind of pairs well with a lot of different things, even though it's sort of this big, bold, clashy pattern. And I think the less you think about what that is going on there, the better it plays. The more casually you treat it, like something like this as it's meant to be, it just looks better and better. It also feels like a la old J. Crew and like that 90s era stuff that people really like. Feels like that.
While we're here, sweater over the shoulder thing, I saw that a lot at the US Open. I saw a fellow with a Fair Isle sweater over the shoulder, and I was like, that's about as good as it can get. I like where your head's at with it. I think it's
like
cool
a great travel sweater. Like if you just have one, you want to throw it on casual, looks cool under the stuff, looks cool by its own, thrown over. You can get a lot of different uses out of one pretty simple piece. So really like it for that reason.
Let me do the doodad. So, you know, Timothy and I want to do a separate episode for things that are more gifty around the holiday, scent, home goods, etc., etc. But we did just get this in. I love BORO. This is like an apron from Kapital in the BORO fabric. This is something where like if you wanted to splash out for yourself, or you got somebody in your life that might like work with their hands or into gardening, or like for instance when I painted signs, I would have killed to have something like this. A little apron, a little side pouch, something like that. This is something where if you really want to wow somebody in your life or yourself, and you really just want to kind of blow up the spot with a treat, this is where I would go.
It's nice to invest in things like that because you really only need one. Why would you have multiples? And if you only have one and you want it to last forever and your kids to like find it and be like, oh shit, that's so cool. This is that kind of thing. So it's a fun little splash out piece that kind of ends up being very like utility oriented, you know?
Or if you're just the person who can just style this in your daily life,
100%.
And if you are that person, you already know it, you don't need me to tell you. This is just one of those things that I think is a cool thing as an object. I had to show some love. There's so many professions in which this would make sense.
Like the two ways I've seen it styled are basically, you know, like take a jacket and you kind of put it tight up against your waist and it just kind of pops, especially if you wear it on the side or something. I also saw people at the Kapital store wearing it kind of crossbody underneath, again, underneath the jacket. They were also kind of wearing it off their back with more cropped jackets.
Cool.
And then you'd see it kind of just poking out and then you could just grab stuff out of it. And it was really convenient.
When we went to the fashion show years ago, that was what I received as a gift, was one of those.
Oh, yeah, these are great. All right, mostly pulled this because I felt like it was a bit of a sleeper. This is Margiela. It is just sort of a straightforward work jacket. Really simple, really straightforward. I think that's what's good about it because then they can make all these little adjustments that happen that they do, like the custom shanks, the Margiela shanks that look like Levi shanks, great custom zippers. You get the little bit of a hit here of the Margiela numbers.
The numerals, yeah.
And a little minor distressing, and then obviously it's been like garment washed in some way, so it feels soft. It feels like ready to be worn a lot more. The main thing is I just really like the color. I like the jacket as like, I know I'd wear it a ton. They put the little pleating and stuff here so it just drapes a little bit better. It's gonna sit on your body a bit better. I like really subtle little flexes, you know what I mean? And this feels like an easy way to upgrade something that you already know that you wear a ton. You upgrade it to this and you get all these cool little details. It'll age out better and better. This feels like a piece that, you know, sometimes like there's these old Comme des Garçons pieces or old Margiela pieces that are really simple and straightforward. And then the aftermarket, like 10 years down the road, is crazy.
Because they're so wearable.
They're just so wearable. Feels like an easy way, even if you're not a Margiela person, to get into it. There's almost an eggplanty thing kind of coming through. It doesn't read like purple at all, but there's definitely that kind of like...
It's a reddish brown. It's on the redder side of a dark brown.
Always get a lot of compliments in this color.
All right, I felt I had to throw in some Stone Island. It's like this shirt jacket. It's like a dark navy that reads a gray, black, in like this really textured canvas. I love this color, this black, dark navy, washed out blue situation. Looks nice with black, looks nice with green, just kind of a utility-based shirt, but this would be really nice just on its own.
I think that Stone Island gets a lot of their credit for a couple things. One, in the streetwear world, having this little culty following, you know what I mean? And that's one thing. And then the other side of it that I don't seem to hear as much about, except for from them, is that they make fabric. I mean, it's a fabric and technology company, and they do really good bio washes and treatments of like the twill here.
Totally.
You get something that ends up really heavy, but like smooth and soft, which is really hard to do without ruining the fabric or getting like weird distressing all over it and shit. Something like this, while subtle, it like takes a lot to get it to look and feel this way. You're not gonna find something like this vintage or something like that. Like this only comes from kind of obsessing over the fabric. What they're doing in fabric is probably one of the most innovative companies that's working with fabric and technology today. So this is no exception, even though it's like one of the more subtle pieces. So this is kind of a similar jacket, honestly, to the Margiela one I just pulled as far as like style goes. It's kind of that classic car coat. Maybe a little bit more traditional, a little less work, a little bit more of that kind of like old haberdashery style car coat. That's a very wearable look though, because it's like all the things about a work jacket, but not quite as cropped, but you're still not dealing with like knee length that's a pain in the ass when you're driving. These are super warm. The main thing here is obviously the fabric. I love all the long staple fibers hanging out everywhere like mohair. It's really soft, it's not itchy. I think the color is really bold, even though it feels sort of like vintagey and classic. I know maybe people are worried about the fabric or whatever. As this continues to like matte on itself and age and do things, it actually just kind of gets cooler and cooler looking because it creates its own texture. It's certainly not gonna fly under the radar because it's a loud colored piece, but I think at the same time, I just wanted to point out like how wearable something like this can be while still being really bold in choice. You know, it's kind of like the opposite of the Margiela one a bit. Great piece. Usually sells out pretty quick too, so.
Love it. I picked two pairs of pants. This is one of them. I had to highlight this. I've always said I like the vintage fit 6-pocket cargos. I think they're a great pair of pants for the amount of money they are. They're a rip stop. These are the wide fit cargos from OrSlow. First season that we've been offered these. I like that it has a lot of the traditional things you would find in a cargo. Obviously you have these big buttons. The pockets on the back have the flaps with the big buttons, the side adjusters. These are very wide and it's in like this sateen. So it's not a rip stop. It's gonna wear and soften a ton. These are something that if I owned these, I would wash them every single time I did the laundry to intentionally kind of like soften them up, really get them to kind of flow. I just had to show some love to these. Nice wide hem. And then I just wanted to highlight here too, you can kind of roll these up into shorts.
I really like the bold choices in the flaps. The flaps are like big and boxy. The belt loops are big and boxy. Everything about it is kind of this like slightly maximalist look that I think will look really great as like you're saying you continue to like wash and wear it a ton. It'll kind of all shrink. And
you know, if you've held a vintage pair of cargos or something, how they have like that almost like linen bounciness. Exactly, This will get that. Just wash them, wash them, wash them, wash them.
And just to be clear too, it starts out feeling pretty good right away too.
Yeah, these are not, they're not stiff like a pair of raws or nothing, you know what I mean? But they'll only soften from this point. So yeah, the wide fit cargos, first season with those. We have these in olive and navy, so.
Good choice, very you.
Yeah, for sure, I couldn't help it, right?
So just got this in. We've had it before though. Thought about calling out new pieces. There's a lot of new pieces in the collection that are really great. And then you should go check those out on the website right now. But I wanted to call attention to this one. Again, this was another one that in the past at least has sold out very fast. Our friend Jonah from Blackbird's Biplane has called this piece out a lot. And he's right to do so in that it's kind of this like take on a quarter zip, but everything about it's funky. This is what Camille does best. Everything's outseamed and put in a way that I would never think to like inset the collar or the zipper or end the zipper early or any of these things, but all of this kind of adds into this piece that makes it really interesting. I really like that, first of all, it's lined with this muslin fabric that's soft and easy and will wear nice and feels good against your skin. It just kind of takes you away from the wool. That being said, the wool actually feels great.
Yeah, the wool is great. And also, it's a legitimately cool callback. Timothy will attest to this. Muslin is what's used for pattern making primarily. So that is it's like a callback to, you know, they say that clothes are kind of like a blueprint. They're imperfect, and so
because they do that with the raw hems on the outside, although they do finish it, it will continue to kind of fray and do cool things.
But it's not going to go all the way up.
No. And then you've got these great cinches down here, so you can cinch this and it becomes this little cropped piece, you know, or you let it go and then it's kind of longer, and that's great too. Then you get to see the full zipper, which is cool. I just think it's a very strangely versatile piece for a company that tends to do things that feel like slightly challenging. So there's a great like mousy brown version too that I was struggling to decide which one to bring in. But.
Shout out Jonah from Blackbird's Biplane. Last from my assortment, I have the studio pant here from William Frederick. Shout out my buddy Bill. Shout out the city of Cleveland. Ohio catches a lot of hate. I'm here to tell you it's actually a nice place, certainly the closer you get to the lake. These are the studio pant from Bill. This is a wool blend, I believe. Yeah, so it's a wool linen blend. That's gonna lay really nice. It's like despite it being wool, it's not obviously very heavy because it has that linen blend. But what I wanted to highlight in particular is the way that I see a lot of fellas styling this in our discords and otherwise. With the elastic waist, you can obviously wear them up high. It has a high enough rise to accommodate. It's gonna kind of fall on top of the shoe, right on the top of the shoe, maybe a slightly cropped look. But I've also seen guys wear them a little lower on the hips. Kind of changes the silhouette entirely, becomes more full. Just really wanted to show some love, one, to Bill, but this is like his culty pant I've seen thus far this season. But I would style this with a nice flowy shirt up top.
What I think that's important to point out is the mixture of fabric that you mentioned ends up feeling like if you had a dress pant that wore like a jean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll age nicely, number one, but this is also kind of like rough and tumble because of the blend. It's not gonna feel like a dress pant, although it will drape like a dress pant. And I think that that's kind of perfect. This is like a dress pant you don't have to be careful with, but it'll feel the same way. So I really like it for that reason. The other thing I love, and just to point out, is it's got patch pockets on the back. I don't always love inset pockets because especially if you're wearing them up high, it kind of adds fabric on a weird part of your butt.
No, I understand what you mean. Like on the top.
Crazy. Yeah. It's kind of a cool thing. Feels like like military chinos or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great pant.
Yeah. Shout out, Bill. Love William Frederick.
So this has been something I've been sort of flipping out about.
Yeah, we were talking about it last night.
I really like nice things that feel nice that aren't really showy, and this is sort of that thing. This feels like it could be like a flannel shirt, although it's definitely warmer than that. What I really like about it is the fit. The fit is boxy, but I didn't feel like it was anything crazy because I like that the sleeve remains open. There is no adjuster on it or anything like that, and they have a finishing on the back of here, which is sometimes the annoying part about having like an unstructured blazer or something like this where they cut it out of wool, but everything's sort of unfinished. It wears and curls weird and shit.
Okay.
This has been finished in a nice way, and you get just a few hits here of the elastic. So you get it on the side, a little bit on the back, a little bit on the other side. So it's gonna keep its interesting, shape, but it also doesn't do that thing where it sticks on you all over the place. And that'll really drive me crazy about elastic bottoms on jackets because you just can't ever get them to sit in the right spot.
Yeah.
You won't have that problem with here. It just fits big, boxy, and it's super drapey, almost like the pant we just looked at. I originally tried on, I don't need this, and then I've been thinking about it, inspired about it ever since. So I'll probably end up getting this one. It's really nice.
Yeah, love it.
It comes in black too, and a flat black something like this is also nice to have.
Yeah.
Easy way to dress something up too. One thing to talk about niceness is execution. This is a gorgeous box. It's like embossed, it's pretty, it feels like leather, gold, like leafing there.
It's like the cover of a moleskin.
Yeah, this has all been handwritten. So this is the Dylan boot. First of all, you get all your tags and your all pretty little bags and all that stuff. But then also, something I really care about, now you have to use Google Translate down here, but they explain things about the boot, which I really appreciate because I can be sick of brands not giving us information about the stuff that they worked so hard on. And here's the boot. It is a really interesting take on like a lot of things. It's like a hand sewn, but it's also like it's mocked, and then it's like it's sewn on top of that.
Yeah.
You can totally see this is hand done because you can tell where it's worn a little bit more on the thread. I really like the kind of that whip stitch stuff that's happening on the back, like old cowboy boots and stuff. Then you've got this, which almost feels like Timberland, like you were saying,
like
beef and broccoli type of thing, but also feels like an old like trail boot. It has got padding up on the collar. Don't always see that. It's kind of an annoying thing to do, especially in handmade shoes.
Oh,
so
sure, dude.
A lot of great natural imperfection that'll kind of show up more as you wear it. And like you can tell it's good leather because when you get it out, it looks dusty and waxy.
Yeah, it's got that bloom
and as soon as you take a brush to this, it's gonna look really beautiful.
Yeah, just work those oils back into the leather.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a little bit of a break-in, no question, but this feels like the type of thing where you really want to put in the work because this is a forever shoe.
I understand that nobody wants their feet to hurt and break-in sucks, and I'm with you with all of that. But like, that's kind of the point. If you got a break-in, it's gonna last long.
And it feels substantial. I mean, it's good. It's gonna be resolable entirely. It's like storm welted and then pinked along here, which is interesting. It just creates more interesting detail. It's just a boot where they kind of didn't spare any expense or time because it's triple stitched in spots, doubled in others, hands in others. So really cool. I think that concludes what we picked.
Yeah, again, we just kind of chose things we like that are either new or specifically fall winter 25. I'm certain we can run this back again.
Well, and as always, if you have suggestions, just drop them in. And for the most part, we do them. So
we're really easy to get in touch with. Hop on over to our Discord.
Bunch of people in there talking about this kind of stuff and more. So it's a fun way to do that and connect with people. And make this a little bit more than just buying clothes. All right. Bye.
See ya.